Aloha Manga Club. It's your boy Lohali signing in with the one, the only Briggs from All Day Anime. This man has been creating content for quite a while. He loves himself some History's Strongest Disciple and One Piece. One of these series I am absolutely behind. The other one I've already made him question getting on this podcast with me due to my dropping of it. Briggs, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Can't complain. Thank you for having me on.
It is my pleasure. I am ecstatic to have you on, especially because I think you're going to try to school me on why History's Strongest Disciple is so good, why I need to go back and reread it, but we'll probably dive into that a little bit. If you can give the audience here just a little bit of a background on, what kind of manga and anime content you create.
Okay, so I go by Briggs. I have the YouTube channel All Day Anime, and my content has been all over the place. With YouTube, you are constantly adapting and changing. Right now, it's a little bit of a meme in the community that I'm a Twitch streamer that makes anime YouTube videos, because a lot of my time goes into Twitch streaming. It's a lot of fun, but like obviously I love anime, and that's something I want to create content with. So I'm happy that I've been able to kind of like almost like make a career out of like Twitch and podcasting and stuff. And then I'm like, when I have time, I'll make anime videos because that's what I enjoy doing. My favorite anime of all time is One Piece. My favorite manga of all time is One Piece. My favorite anime of all time is Kenichi. And you said you dropped it, which hurts a little bit, but we'll get into that.
I dropped the manga. I have not gotten the chance to watch the anime. I'll be honest here. I can be honest on this one.
Okay. And that's what kind of made me a little bit happier when you said you dropped it, because at first I'm like, you dropped the anime? Like, that hurts, because the 50 episode series is perfect in my eyes. Now, the manga, which I think is really, really good, does deteriorate towards the end of the series. And I feel like it's a combination of sales were decreasing, the mangaka feeling pressure. So he obviously like really pushed fan service and pushed like everything in a little bit of a different direction that like didn't feel like Kenichi. It felt like it was really throwing it in our face versus it kind of being there and like adding to the series. So when you said it, you dropped it towards the end, I get it. I do get it.
Okay, perfect. That puts us on almost even playing field, really close. Like, you're still judging me only this much, and that's fine. I can live with that. Like, I've been judged like that much my whole life. But now if I were to say that I dropped One Piece, which is cardinal sin, I will never, ever... I'm in One Piece until I die, basically. That would be 5
That makes me happy.
Hey.
That makes me happy. The only respectable place to drop One Piece is Syrup Village. Because that I can understand. It's like, at Syrup Village, no, not because it's a terrible arc, but you haven't seen what One Piece is yet at that point. Like, it's good. I loved it off the bat, but I could understand it being just like an average show to most people still at that point.
Oh, for sure. My wife and I are actually watching through it right now. I own most of the series. I've read the entire thing. I'm up to date. I'm up to date multiple times over. My wife, on the other hand, we're just making it through Dressrosa. She's just making it to that part. And
you're in, at that point. You're in it. Like,
she's emotionally in. She's questioning the realism of it at some points. I'm like, okay, first of all, our main character is made out of rubber. He ate a fruit that made him rubber, babe. How can we question the realism of why aren't they being shot by bullets? It just it makes sense by now.
See, I can understand where she's coming from, just because Oda is so amazing that he takes these insane, unrealistic things and kind of makes you believe it.
Dude, honestly, I will be honest, just it's a little bit embarrassing for myself. When I was like 10 to 12, like when I first started reading One Piece, I definitely 100% like was hoping that I could get one of the devil fruit abilities. Like, I was like, this was on almost the same level, a little bit lower than getting my Hogwarts acceptance letter, but this was like right up there with like my hopes and dreams that one day I could be a pirate that was ruling the 7 seas trying to find One Piece.
I feel that, man. I think if I grew up watching Dragon Ball, like Pokemon, like you saying the Hogwarts letter, that's me. Like, I just wish I was in a world with Pokemon, or like the amount of times, like I feel like part of why I started working out and getting into fitness is because of Dragon Ball Z. Like, I think every like 12-year-old kid was like there in their room trying to do like Kamehamehas.
Okay. I actually think I was able to generate the heat for a Kamehameha once in my life. Like, I was walking down the hallway in school and I was doing the full beam behind me. That is my dog Tater Tot. I was doing the full beam, powering it up behind me, and I was like saying it real slow. My hands started to get real warm, and I let it go. I think I lost the magic at that point. I was like, oh God, I don't want to blow a hole in the front door of the school. I'm already in trouble. Like, I was already getting in trouble like on a weekly basis. And if I blew a hole in the front doors, it'd be over for me. I would have been expelled. But Dragon Ball was my very first manga. Like, that's the one that I remember reading in the library. Like, I would sit in front of the library shelves, like, making it so that if anyone tried to hit him, I'd hit him with the book. Every single time I would reach, I'm like, no, this is mine. No one gets to touch this. It was just an absolutely amazing experience. So you started off where the rest of us did, with Dragon Ball, with Pokemon. You dreamed that you were in a Pokemon world.
Of course.
Who's your starter?
Oh, okay. See, it depends. Like, in the games, maybe I was trying to be more logical, but like I feel like I had to go with like Charmander. Like, it's the OG.
Dude, Charmander was. Let's be honest here. Charmander for the first 3 gyms was the worst choice.
Yeah, worst choice. And like, so like, I would want Charmander, but the amount of times I played with Bulbasaur, like,
dude, I didn't actually get red or blue. I got yellow version. So the first gym was nearly impossible for me because I didn't understand why Pikachu couldn't use any thunder attacks. So I was using an underpowered Pikachu to tackle everybody. Like, that was exclusively it. And then eventually,
that sounds horrible.
It was literally one of the worst experiences of my life until I figured out that I could get a Nidoran and eventually go up to a Nidoking. That was my mint right there. But I'm going to be honest. First generation, always Charizard. Second generation, Typhlosion, hands down. The moves that Typhlosion could learn from second gen, possible to beat.
Second gen, was that Pokemon Crystal?
That was Gold, Crystal, and Silver. Yes.
Yeah, so I had Crystal. I can't remember what I played as though. Honestly, like, I feel like I've just replayed the game so much. Like, I don't know what my go-to like OG. Like, obviously, like with first gen, I would do Charmander, but like when I replay them, I usually don't do Charmander.
You're like I can't. You're like, I can't. This doesn't make any logical sense. I have to go with Bulbasaur or Squirtle, and Squirtle is kind of pointless after the second gym, and then he makes sense again. What is Blaze? 8? Blaze, whatever his name. I can't remember his name. I just don't know. So kind of, what was your progression with manga and anime? Starting with that Dragon Ball, Pokemon. What kind of got you deeper and deeper into this amazing cesspool? So
I feel like I was pretty much addicted to anime from a young age, not even knowing what anime was. So I remember specifically, like, I love my sleep. I oversleep and sleep in all the time. But like, just thinking back, I think it's just so amazing that I would legit wake up extra early for school, record Pokemon, or like get my dad to record Pokemon for me, and then I would like get ready early so that I could watch Pokemon for 20 minutes before I left for school. And I would do like cross country and track and field and stuff like that. And there was days where it would be after school, and I would not want to go because I wanted to go home and catch an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! So like, it was kind of ingrained in me from a very, very young age. Like, I played Pokemon cards, played Yu-Gi-Oh cards, didn't know what it was. I watched Dragon Ball Z episodes out of order, and like, I loved it, but didn't know what it was, or like had no idea of the plot or story involved at all. But I knew I liked it, right? And then as I got to like grade 5, grade 6, not sure what age that is. Like, it's like 13, 12. I don't know. Like maybe 11 or 12, whatever.
You're in that like 11 to 13 age. It's 11. I think it's 11 or 12. Yeah.
So pre-10, I was already like, that had been like become like a part of who I was. I was really into it. But like 11, 12, I legit totally legally downloaded all of Dragon Ball Z or got my dad to do it for me. And I legit, like, I was like, Dad, I want to watch this show. It's called Dragon Ball Z, but like the episodes are not in order and I can't find them. They're not on anymore. So I got my dad to download a Dragon Ball Z for me. And I just marathoned the entire series. And I would talk about it at school with my friends and stuff. And one of my friends was a low-key weeb that like hid it from everyone else. He said, yo, you should check out Naruto. So I got my dad to download Naruto for me.
I just want to point this out. You got your dad to totally 100% legally download 2 different anime series to pull you in. That's legendary.
Yes. Yeah. I
That's
love telling that story.
that's your dad's a legend on that.
Yeah, he was just like he was always like the person in my family that would just like find us all the movies and like all the series and stuff. So I'm like, this is the I gotta go to him for the anime, right? And I shouldn't even like at this point I started to realize what anime was, and I watched Dragon Ball, I watched Naruto, and at that point I was hooked. And then I watched Bleach, and then I watched One Piece, and then from that point on, I've been a One Piece stan, and probably haven't been able to appreciate anime at the same level since.
One
I
Piece
watched
ruins everybody.
it ruined anime for me. 'Cause I watched Fairy Tail after that. Like, think about that. Everything before One Piece was great. And then I watched Fairy Tail after One Piece. I couldn't get through it.
To be fair, it was Fairy Tail.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, I really, really, really like Mashima's like work. Brave is amazing. Fairy Tail was okay, and Eden Zero was baller. But the amount of friendship in Fairy Tail.
Yep. Yep. I feel that. I feel like if I watched Fairy Tail though before One Piece, I probably would have liked it because I'm just so new to everything, right?
Yeah.
I probably would have enjoyed it. But then after watching One Piece, I feel like there's this constant comparison going on in your head where it's like this shonen's just they just don't compare.
These are
But I am a big shonen tard. I went on to like watch series like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Hajime no Ippo, and I just fell in love.
there's another Hajime no Ippo stan in the fan base.
Yeah.
That's my I will 100% shill out for this series until everyone has seen or read it just because of how amazing the fight choreography is. Like
It is insane.
it's some of the best, like the sound design, the way that the fights flow. I don't know how George does it. I mean, I know how he does it. He actually owns a boxing gym. But I don't know
Yeah.
how he transfers real life boxing to feel so visceral in its environment that he's it's just amazing. So before I jump into my next question, I have to know one more thing. This is gonna call back to your childhood. Who had the better theme song? Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon?
How can you do this to me?
I know this is.
Um,
Like I didn't think about it until you mentioned it. And then I was like, I've been thinking about a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh today. So I've just been playing out the OG theme song in my head. But there's something so classic and like blood pumping about I wanna be the very like, and
I think I'm gonna have to go with Pokemon.
it's close. Like one's a 99, one's a 100.
Exactly.
And Pokemon just has that edge, especially because Ash jumps off that damn cliff.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh is almost cooler. I appreciate like maybe looking at it now, or even as a kid, I probably thought it was cooler. But Pokemon's that thing that you can sing along with. Like as a kid, I used to sing that all the time.
Dude, if somebody came in with and like started singing the Pokemon theme song, I had this playing in my workout playlist for years. Like it was there ready to go when it was PR day, and I'd blast that thing. It works every single
It
time.
does.
It just gets my blood pumping.
Dude, to this day, if someone plays it on a Twitch stream, I can't help but start singing.
I mean, I hum it in my head every now and then at work, and I only get a little bit of judgment because everyone that I work with is either older than me or has never seen a single anime. Super depressing.
Oh, that sucks.
I know, which is why the Manga Club is so good because I get to actually talk with other people who are just as enthusiastic about manga and anime. It's like myself. So where do you kind of see the future of shonen going? Like, since you are so into shonen, you have One Punch Man, Shokugeki no Soma. I believe you made a video about that last week, didn't you?
I made a video on Food Wars. Yes,
Yes.
I love Food Wars so much, and it's like it's a great way to answer your question. 'Cause I feel like shonen's been constantly evolving. So like if you think of Dragon Ball as like the grandfather of shonen in a way, and you see all these like offspring that are very much influenced by it, like One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, for example. You have it's like Dragon Ball was this very generic, plain protagonist, but it's all about it's like getting stronger, pushing your boundaries, crazy fights. It is like the epitome of what most people view shonen to be. And then you get things like Naruto and One Piece that like maybe have similar elements, but kind of add themes. Like in Naruto, you got hatred, and in One Piece, you got this amazing world building and adventure, and they just added one more thing to it. And then shonen goes a step further nowadays, where like it could literally be anything. Honestly, when you look at Food Wars, it's fucking cooking, and they take the tournaments from that were in Dragon Ball Z, and they take the battle-esque but apply it to something completely different. Because at the end of the day, you can't just keep repeating. I feel like you're going to start seeing that with isekai, because isekai, they just keep on copying formulas over and over and over again because they sell, but eventually they're going to stop selling and you're going to be forced to innovate, right?
And that's how that's going to be the next game, is seeing how isekai can take that next step forward. Have you ever watched Yakite Japan?
I have not.
Okay, so it is a gag cooking shonen that is absolutely fucking balls to the wall insane. Like, the very end is just so over the top, it makes no sense. Give it a watch. Do you like gag anime?
Yes.
100% look up Yakite Japan. It is on Crunchyroll, I currently believe, and the series is completed with 60, 70 episodes, 20 minutes apiece. So it's not that long of a watch compared to,
Yeah, everything's easy in comparison, right?
As long as you know where the filler episodes are with One Piece, you're fine.
Yeah, or watch on One Piece or something like that.
One Piece, they're falling behind though. They're falling very far.
Are
behind.
they?
Yeah, they don't have. There's certain arcs they just don't have fully done yet, which I'm okay with. It's totally fan done, but it makes it so hard. I'm like, One Piece all the time. So I have to. I literally have a website permanently pulled up on my phone, where it's just one of my tabs where I'll go and know where the next filler is, so I can just skip it for my wife. She doesn't need to see filler. She's in the prime of her One Piece career. Though she didn't actually watch. I got her pulled in right around the time, right before the time skip.
Okay.
So I got her in right at Water 7. She read a little bit all the way past Alabasta, and she read a little bit of Skypiea, but she kind of dropped it, and she just wasn't wanting to do it. And I was like, hey, how about we just start watching from one of the best arcs pre-time skip, and just go from there. And she was hooked that moment on.
Nice. So you started watching around Water 7, she did?
Yeah. We picked up right when the ship dropped down from Skypiea.
I guess she could have watched G8. It's the best filler arc.
She could have. I thought about it.
Not worth it though. If you're trying to get her into it, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I was very if she had already been invested, I'd be like, all right, G8, we're doing it. But she wasn't fully in. I was like, all right, we're gonna start off. You're gonna get the backstory of Robin, since you know a little bit about her, to find out so much more than you could possibly believe, and you're gonna see a grown man cry. I might have shed a few tears. The Going Mary scene always makes me tear up.
100%. I think that's the first scene in all of anime that's made me cry.
And I think that's, other than having to watch Death Note, that's the only thing anime that might actually ever. There's a meme going around about me, a classic quip, if you will. I do not like Death Note. I think it is way too overhyped.
Really?
I think it is super overhyped for what it actually is.
I'm a big fan. I think it's great. But, at the end of the day, I tend to anything that's really good, like a 9 out of 10, will be overhyped by consumers, by us, right? Because it's very rare that we get a series that I think is like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
And so when you do get one, everyone Cowboy Bebop, for example. It's like everyone says that's overrated. I do very much enjoy it, and I love it. And it's like that's what's gonna happen when you have a series that's like an 8. Like I would rate like an 8 or 9 out of 10. It'll never match a newcomer's. I don't know. It took me a while to watch Cowboy Bebop. It was hyped up for years for me, and going and watching it, I was let down. But it's really because of the hype. It's like when a series is that good, it's just inevitable that us watching it is going to overhype it for anyone to come. It's sad, but it's true. And I feel like Death Note's the same thing.
That's the weird thing, though. I've read through the series twice. I went in the first time not knowing anything about the hype, and I was like, okay, this is kind of okay. Then I read through it the second time, and every single plot hole, people hadn't pointed out to me before. I was just reading through it, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. That's an ass pull. What the hell?
Oh, it definitely has a lot of ass pulls. Dude,
if they had, I think, in my opinion, and I think this is a general consensus, if they had ended in the middle, right before you got Nier in there, I think it would have been a little bit better. But the Shinigami eyes are just what I was like, no. Dude, you wrote yourself into a corner. You know what ending you wanted, and you didn't know how to get there, so you wrote yourself into a corner and had to come up with something that was not even hinted at the rest of the series to make it so that your guy could win. That's what killed it. That was the moment that it died for me, is when I realized that that's how this was going to end. I know.
So how would you rate the first 25 episodes then? 'Cause I still think those are I would agree that second 25 isn't as good.
And this is going from I'm more manga than I am anime. So I'll say that the first half is I will honestly give it an 8. I will genuinely give it an 8.
Okay.
The artwork is good. The tension that it builds up, the fact that it's a non-traditional battle shonen, it gives it an 8. There are some weak points that I've talked about with a few friends of mine. One, obviously, I wasn't the biggest fan of the plot holes, but the biggest thing that really kind of I didn't ever notice is the female characters are all really weak. And I know that sounds weird to say for a shonen, but I would have liked. They were all just so easily controlled; they didn't feel real, and that's more of the writer's fault than the actual story itself. I know that's like I said. That's why I'm kind of giving it an 8. If the women were a little bit stronger, I'd definitely give it I'd give it a 8.5 maybe. But they're just.
I think an 8's fair. I'd probably give it a 9 myself. And I love the fact that it does have a pretty strong start, so it's a good anime to get like newcomers into. The first 2 episodes, I feel like it hits everyone, and everyone's pretty shocked and like amazed.
The thing that blew me away is when a lot of the community was originally like, "Oh no, he's a hero." I'm like, dude, he's a 17-year-old that just killed off a couple hundred people because he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna test it out to see if it works." That's not normal.
Yeah, no. Dude, there's a lot of people in our community that, like, for example, Itachi from Naruto. People view him as a hero. I'm like, you realize he slaughtered his entire clan and killed literal babies, women. It wasn't just like, I feel like people picture like, it's like, okay, these people are rebelling against the Leaf Village, and eventually it's going to cause a war that could lead to even more like larger wars and deaths. I get it. But if you picture a group of rebelling adults that are warriors and ninjas fighting versus realizing that he did a genocide. He did a genocide to his people. And people that doesn't click in for people. Most people would try to look for other routes, but he's just a very
black or white.
The ends justify the means type of guy. So he's like, okay, I will sacrifice my entire clan. And like, I love him as a character. I think it's great, but to call him a hero or think he was a good guy is fucking ridiculous. And I can see the same argument being made for Light.
I mean, I completely agree. I think I'm about to rewrite Naruto here. I think if Itachi had just killed his dad and like the main males behind everything, he might have been able to get away with keeping most of the clan alive. Because at that point, he would have the actual physical control of the clan as the strongest member, and he could have helped turn the tides, saying, hey, they were about to go and kill everybody. This was a sacrifice that we had to make so that you all could live. Like, that would have been the way to do it. But then again, we're expecting a lot from a shonen.
Yes, of course. Like, it's like killing the entire clan wasn't the only way to stop a coup, especially when you're that powerful.
He was him in Shushui. Was that his friend's name?
Yeah.
Shushui. They were both the two most insanely powerful Uchiha clan of their day. There's literally no one else that was part of the Uchiha clan. And they were able to massacre as many people as they wanted. But Itachi didn't even get a scratch on him. Think of how crazy that is.
Yeah. So I don't know if that, like, it just, I think of it as a cop-out. It's great, but it annoys me at the same time, especially when you think about the community attached. Like, I'm fine with him doing what he is. Just acknowledge him for what he is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Okay, so there's another problem that I have with Naruto. The fact that every single time that they bring him up, they're like, oh, Naruto has no talent. And this is my big, like, complaint about shonen. When everyone goes, oh, the MC has no talent, but they're the best in the world. I was like, okay, first of all, I don't think you know what no talent means. Like, I was like, no talent means that they don't even get close to being the top in the world. But Naruto had one of the biggest chakra bays. His mother and father were both two of the most talented, gifted shinobis of their time for their specific styles, and he had some of the best teachers. And you're telling me that Naruto wasn't talented.
And he had a Jinchuriki in his stomach. That like
the Nine Tails. He had half the Nine Tails in him. Going, yeah, man, you can have my power kind of whenever you want. Just let me know. Like,
yeah, so I agree with you. So Naruto drops these themes like that he's an untalented underdog, and they also drop these things of him being a social underdog as well, where it's like everyone hates him, right? So you have to, like, when you put this on your character, you have to make it consistent throughout the series. But very, very quickly, you start to realize that he is not a physical underdog. He has been blessed, not through hard work. Obviously, he worked hard as well to be able to use them, but he's been blessed with things that other people could never imagine, no matter how hard they could work. So is he a physical underdog? No. Is he a social underdog? Yes, for like 20 episodes. It's like you have to be consistent with people fucking hating him. Everyone came to love him within 20 episodes. Then that's not a theme. This is a 600 episode show.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent if you want to label him as this.
You can't go from being, oh, he's a social outcast that no one loves. I was like, first of all, the kids didn't really hate him all that much. The kids were kind of like, oh, he's a weirdo, but Shikamaru appreciated him. Choji appreciated him. He wasn't friendless. Like, him and Sasuke were apparently a lot like, they painted him and Sasuke real close towards the end of the series. They're like, oh, no, actually, they were kindred spirits. I was like, you are literally undoing your themes from the very beginning right now. And it was, guys, come back, bring it in, maybe show how the adults still hated him. Maybe don't give us Iruka Sensei in the first episode. Man willing to get stabbed in the literal back to save Naruto.
Yeah. Actually, let's go back to like the shonen evolution I was talking about. I feel like there's 3 routes that shonen can take. This Naruto kind of just like put that in my head. So it's like you could do the Food Wars route where you take shonen and you take something completely different to like separate it from the shonen of the past. Or you could do like a My Hero Academia where it's like, let's take the shonen of the past and try to polish it in a way. Like, let's give it good animation. Let's not do the same typical weekly thing and separate it into series so we could have it a little bit more like better produced and stuff. So like, I do consider My Hero Academia to be a typical shonen, but just like given to us in a way that matches how we like are to watch media in 2020.
Yeah.
And then there's a third one, like One Punch Man or Mob Psycho, that fucking like makes fun of shonen and really like maybe not Mob. Mob Psycho doesn't really make fun of shonen, but it just like it takes shonen, makes fun of it, parodies it, and honestly just gives it in a completely different way.
I think that Mob Psycho 100% it parodies it. It doesn't make fun of it.
Yeah.
But it takes some of the tropes and it cranks them up just a little bit more. The overpowered protagonist, instead of them being, the underpowered protagonist who's trying to do something else, it's the overpowered protagonist trying to be normal. I think
exactly.
I think One Punch Man is probably my favorite anime the past like 2 years. Like, it's the artwork is stunning. The fights in season 2 are some of the absolute best fights.
See. Okay, I'm a big fan of what you do, man. This is amazing. So most people they really rip on season 2 compared to season 1, and I will agree that season 1's better. But from a fight scene perspective, the fights in season 2 are so good, and you start to appreciate the world and the other characters so much more. When you get that tournament and you see these characters striving to become stronger, and then Saitama's just like, don't get stronger. If you get stronger, you're not going to enjoy anything. Like, you get this perfect dynamic that's just so great.
It's, and like I said, I think one does such an amazing job of creating worlds that are well thought out and well developed. His artwork might not be the best. Like, if you look at the original One Punch Man and Mob Psycho drawings, they're not great. But the story that he's telling in there is, one, it parodies it so well, but it's also so realistic and relatable. It's, One Punch Man is about a guy who's so strong. He just wants to kind of feel, he wants to be a hero. He wants to feel challenged. He's so depressed because he doesn't have that in his life. And then with Mob Psycho, you have a kid who's never fit in because he's too powerful. He's tried to restrain himself. He doesn't know how to interact properly. And I think he just does a great job. And Murata took the artwork and cranked it up to a point where I think it is some of the most amazing looking, especially One Punch Man. It's probably one of the most amazingly designed shonen currently. At least season 1. Like, the lines, the artwork, all of it is just killer. I mean, who here hasn't tried to do the One Punch Man workout? At least once.
Oh, I made a video about it.
I think the fact that we're able to sit here and talk about, I'm even going to call it a fan-made manga that became an anime, is absolutely astounding. This wasn't something that was published originally in Shonen Jump. This was something that I think One Punch Man was one of the first, let's just call it manhwa, because even though it's technically not, but online webcomics that became an anime.
Yep.
I mean, right now it's Tower of God is the other one, and
how do you feel about Tower of God?
The animation feels off to me.
It does look weird, and I feel like the adaptation's not it's not being done all that great. I don't know if it's gonna it may look a little bit better than the manhwa did, because the manhwa evolved over so many years and he perfected his art style much like George did from Hajime no Ippo. And it's just really rough in the beginning. So it's hard because the original adaptation is more thorough and doesn't rush it, while the new adaptation looks a little bit better, not that much better, but it looks better. And it's like I feel like it's kind of all over the place, and the dialogue is just I honestly just can't continue to watch it. It's hard for me.
I wonder if it's a. You think it could be like a translation thing that it's going from Korean, Japanese to English, and there could be a translation issue.
It's possible. It just the dialogue feels like janky, and I feel like they're just trying to like rush everything. Like it's weirdly paced because they'll go really slow at some parts, and then other parts it's just like we have to include it for the sake of the plot, but let's just rush through it because we need to get to the, I guess, what people would perceive to be better content. Like this 12 episode first season is going to cover so many chapters because they want to get to where the series really picks up.
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking.
It's going to be really. I don't know. I got my I have my wife try out different anime, just a different. Like I would give her the 2 episode rule. If you don't like within 2 episodes, we're not going to bother with it because you won't like it.
Okay.
On. She was kind of feeling it just a little bit, but she was kind of. It has to be something that she's in the mood for. And I agree. It just felt. I can agree to that. It felt kind of janky. The artwork, like something felt stiff. That makes any sense. It just didn't feel flowy. Like One Piece kind of goes through that same thing in the anime where it doesn't feel very flowy. And that probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but it just. When you're watching something really good, you don't notice the pacing.
Yeah.
But when something's not, you feel it jerk, like start and stop. It's like a manual car.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think that's what Tower of God has. I will say the first one that kind of had that same jerky feeling at the very beginning was Psycho-Pass. Like the first 2 episodes of Psycho-Pass had that same jerky feeling, but then you hit episode 3 and it just shifted into gear. Season 1.
Yes, Psycho-Pass is a series I like to say it's just like with each episode it slowly gets more refined and better.
Psycho-Pass was, I watched that thing and I made it to the very end of season 1. I was like, holy fuck, what was that? That was nuts.
Like how can you just keep on amping up the stakes and it got so freaking good.
And then I got to the end, and so I got to the very end. I was like, okay, I'll try to start watching season 2. Oh. And season 2, I was like, I watched the first episode. I was like, no, we're not going to ruin this for me. We're just going to pretend that season 1 doesn't exist. We're going to go on with our lives. We're going to pretend that season 1 is the only season, and it worked. One that I thought was surprisingly good, but is almost impossible to find. It wasn't jerky. It was, man, there's a lot of sexual innuendo times. But have you ever heard of Baccano?
Yes. Oh, Baccano is great. I've rewatched it like 4 times, and I feel like with each rewatch, you appreciate it more.
It's such a it's so weirdly paced. I mean, it's by the same creators, Durarara. And it's just, I think so.
Because it is. You got these different plot lines that are like that don't feel like they're connected at all. No. And the reason they're not connected, you don't think they're connected, is because they're literally happening at different times. There's different times, different plots, different characters, all combined and somehow made like to not be janky or jerky is great.
It was so beautifully done. The only manga that I've seen that comes close to that, with like the multiple timelines that kind of jumps all over the place, would be Monster.
Monster is good. Monster does have some slow parts throughout, unlike Baccano, for example. 100%. Baccano's shorter, obviously.
Yeah, I think Monster and 20th Century Boys are 2 of the most interestingly designed manga, especially for that kind of genre. Just the way that they're built, and I'd go as far to say that Monster is probably one of the best non-typical. Like just the way that it tells a story, the way that it pulls people in. It doesn't have very many battles per se, which is why I'm not calling it prototypical, but it does make you think.
Yeah. I don't even know if I would consider it a shonen. I feel like it's more seinen.
You might be right.
Like Death Note, people argue that it's more seinen, and I can say like yes, but it's not to the level of like Monster, for example. Like Monster, it's hard for me to catch. Like it just gets so deep and dark compared to. At the end of the day, Death Note has battles. It feels like a battle shonen, even if it's an intellectual battle, right? Monster doesn't feel like it has battles. It's like an ongoing one battle that's like continuously like you're just like anticipating what's gonna happen next. It just doesn't feel like a shonen to me. It's
a very slow burn. Like that mystery over the entire series is so slow burn. I can understand where you're coming from. I can actually agree that it feels more adulty, but I also don't recommend. Whenever somebody asks me where I recommend to start with Urasawa, I never recommend Monster or 20th Century Boys, even though they're my favorite. I think Pluto is the best jumping off point.
Okay, I need to check Pluto out then, because Monster is a masterpiece.
Pluto, especially if you're not used to Urasawa's writing, Pluto is based around the world of Astro Boy. Like he's taking Osamu Tezuka's world of Astro Boy, and he's infusing his own Urasawa-ness into it. It's only 9 volumes, so it's a lot less dense to read. They're not the full like thick takubans like Monster is. They're regular size, regular thickness. So it's a lot easier for somebody who's never read it to kind of come in and go, oh, okay, this is pretty interesting. And it does that kind of same mystery. It does a little bit of time jumping, like Monster does a little bit, and 20th Century Boys is all about that time jumping. You never start with 20th Century Boys if you're getting into Urasawa. It's just too confusing. If I had started there, it would have blown my mind away out of my head. But
this is so off topic, but like I know you're more of a manga guy than an anime guy, right?
Yes.
So I know you love Hajime no Ippo, and I feel like we have a somewhat similar taste in anime by like this conversation. Can you watch Kenichi for me?
I will watch Kenichi for you.
Okay, so it's 50 episodes. It goes up until Kenichi versus Odin, like the first fist, and I've reread the series like 3 or 4 times, and I've watched it probably over 10. It's my favorite anime, and it's my favorite anime because I watched it at a part of a time in my life that I feel like I was able to relate to the protagonist, and it really just like hit me on a completely different level. I still think it's amazing regardless, but I appreciate it so much more because I watched it as a junior in high school, and it was able to influence me in certain ways.
That's actually really good timing because I think Nietzsche was right around that middle high school age.
Yeah. He was that character, and he was trying to figure out who he was, and the entire like series, he's obviously getting stronger, but he's also chasing his dreams. He's chasing his dream girl. He wants to become a writer. He wants to be confident, and you see him gain self-confidence and grow as a fighter, but also as he's growing as a fighter, he kind of grows as an individual as well. And I appreciate the series so much. What I think is the anime, why I recommend you watch the anime, is because the voice acting, the music, and the pacing of it, I feel like enhances the show. And I've reread what the anime adapted, and it's not even comparable.
Like the anime does the adaptation better.
The anime like advances the adaptation and really that's why I wish the entire series was adapted, because I do admit that the manga kind of decreases in quality, but if they were to adapt it at that same level, I feel like it would just be a different experience.
You know what? I will go and watch those 50 episodes, because I was watching Hinatsu, I can never say the name, Hinatsumori, or one with the psychic girls. I'm watching that one right now, and I'm debating trying to watch Black Clover, because I know what happens within the first 25 episodes, and everyone's like, if you skip the first 25, baller. It's fucking amazing. But
Black Clover is a bad representation of what like I was talking about earlier for shonen. Like Black Clover is trying to like take what shonen did a while back and just redo it. And the pacing in the beginning, the first chapter is 3 episodes in the anime. Disgusting. Like it's not worth your time until like 25 episodes in, they start to fix this pacing issue.
I think I will really enjoy Black Clover, because it's trash shonen at its best. It knows what it is, and it's like, no, I'm not My Hero Academia. I'm not One Punch Man. I'm not One Piece. I am the trash shonen that you all love. And I think that's why Black Clover is so, because the opinion on it has changed drastically since in the past 75 episodes. I mean, it's 100 plus episodes in. The last, after episode 25, everyone's like, no, it's actually good now, guys. It's like, I don't know if I can commit to it's actually good now.
So I read the manga prior to the anime airing, so I knew it was good all along. But like once I started watching the anime, I'm like, I can't do it. This is like, it's ruining a series that I love. So I never went back to watch it. But from what I hear, it just like 25 episodes in, the pacing really fixes itself. And honestly, Black Clover, like the manga itself and the story that they're doing, is just amazing shonen. If you like shonen, you will like Black Clover.
Dude, the artwork for Black Clover is just so like, it's good. Like I'm not trying to say that like confused. I'm trying to figure out a better descriptor than good. It takes all of the good shonen drawing things, puts it in there. Like the artwork, the backgrounds, the fight scenes, everything flows so well in it. It took shonen and it didn't perfect it, but it polished that kind of early 2000s vibe. And it's really I think it hit on that nostalgia that everyone was kind of missing after Bleach dropped. Bleach dropped the ball.
Bleach is coming back.
When I heard that Bleach was coming back,
how do you feel about that?
I want them to make an anime original ending. I've never said that before. I want an anime original ending for Bleach.
Wow. So I know it was rushed. I never read the rest of Bleach. I watched the anime. I even read a bunch of it along the way while the episodes were coming out. But once it got canceled and like the manga continued, but I just never continued watching it because I was just so annoyed with the series at that point. I didn't know, like I was pretty like, how do I say this? I was pretty new to anime at the time, so I didn't know about skipping filler. I just watched everything. I just consumed everything.
Well, Bleach is only filler. Bleach was like 90% filler. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I feel like if I were to rewatch Bleach now, being who I am now, and like I would just like look up all the episodes, figure out what I did need to avoid, at all costs, and I would enjoy it so much more.
No, I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, but the final boss battle, like the final part of the battle, takes place within 2 chapters. That's it.
No.
Yeah.
All that build up for like all that's gotta be
Ichigo gains all of these powers in the build up. I was like, none of this makes any sense at all. But he's pairing it with a brand new manga that I think might end up getting an anime adaptation, which is Burn the Witch.
Okay.
So, and it's placed in the same universe as Bleach, but a different soul society.
Really?
Based in Great Britain, I believe.
Cool.
Yeah, so
I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's going to be an anime original ending, or like not even completely original. Maybe, just expand it, add to it, polish it a bit. I know he was very rushed towards the end. He had to end the series, and like I remember at one point, I'm pretty sure something came out like he had to end the series in like 4 weeks. He had 4 chapters, end the series.
And I think that's exactly what happened. They're like, oh, you've got X amount of time to end one of the most popular series in America, not necessarily over in Japan, but in America. You got to finish it now. And it just killed it. I mean,
it's the look honestly disgusting though.
The look in Tekken's eyes when the series ended was just so sad. Like, I wanted to give him a hug. I was like, oh no, oh God, no.
Man, feels bad. Like I just feel like a series. Once you get to the point where you are long running, you have hundreds and hundreds of chapters. You got to do it justice. And like, why rush it? Why rush it? But I understand it's a business at the end of the day.
If you're not going to publish it in the magazine, like, let him take it somewhere else and publish it, or let him finish it when he wanted to finish it. Like, he didn't want to. I think he was done after the Soul Society arc. Like before he brought the Fullbrings back, he was like, I'm done, guys. Like the series is over. We're at a logical conclusion. We beat. He's like, Aizen's done. This is all done. We're at a logical conclusion. Like, carry on. You're making too much money to stop. And that's what worries me. Like, I don't know if they'll ever let Oda actually finish One Piece until he stops being profitable.
That sucks. I think about that all the time too. The thing that's great about One Piece though is Oda's always said he had the start and the ending in mind. And the story is set up to be an adventure where they literally have to sail around the entire world, right? So it's perfect because you could, if say you're forced to keep the series going for the money, you could just keep on bringing up new adventures, new islands. Like at the end of the day, there's no like once Naruto gets everyone to accept him, he pretty much achieved his goal. Once he becomes the Hokage, he achieved his goal. Once Ichigo rescued Rukia, he achieved his goal. What is the goal for One Piece? It's to find the One Piece, which is a lifetime journey around the world, really.
Yeah. The thing is, whereas, in fact, I think we can define One Piece even more as just to be the Pirate King. Like, what does it mean to be the Pirate King? Well, it's not a set thing. Really, anybody could be the Pirate King. Whereas in Naruto, you have the hard stop. It's, my goal is to be a Hokage. Hard stop. My goal is to save Rukia. Hard stop. My goal is to be the Pirate King. What does that even mean? Like, we still don't know what the definition of the Pirate King is.
We don't know. There's so much mystery behind the world. And Oda's done a great job, like, obviously, world building. So they could really, like, if they wanted to really stretch the series out. I can see it going. Like, I think it's going to be over in the next 5 to 10 years, but they could push it to 20 years if they wanted to, without even decreasing the quality if they continue at this rate. Because everything's been fleshed out. There's so much more that needs to be like. I can't even think about it ending in the next 5 years. I know. I feel like that might be the goal from what I've heard.
He's been saying. He said that One Piece was going to end in 2002 when he first. We're 18 years in, and I'm gonna be honest. Like once it ends, I'm gonna be super upset. Like that will be such a large part of my life, just gone, just disappeared. But I will have known that the adventure was worth it because Oda puts his all into this.
He really does.
I also think that he definitely scans the fan forums to pick out theories to be like, all right, this was what it was gonna definitely be. We're gonna change it now. No one can guess where I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I've heard that he does that, and it just, what was I saying? Like there's so much mystery still yet to be revealed. I can't see an ending for a long time. Like part of the one thing I really love about the series is the mystery about the Void Century. How many? Like we're at 970 something, right?
979, yes.
979. We still know nothing.
We know actually that's not technically true. We know 3 things about the Void Century. We know all of 3 things. 1, spoilers ahead for One Piece if anyone's not. Are you caught up?
I'm caught up.
Okay, so spoilers ahead for anyone who's not caught up. 1, we know that Odin's wife is from the Void Century.
Okay.
2, we know that the Sea Kings and Joy Boy interacted with each other during the Void Century. And 3, we know that the world government came to power during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
and then that's why they're trying to hide it, obviously.
Correct. I mean, I have a few more theories, like some absolutely nutso theories about it. Like, I think that the Gorosei are actually 800, 900 years old. I think
that'd be interesting.
I think that, and this is all hearsay and conjecture. I think that the thing in Mary Joie is actually Joy Boy's body, which is why they wanted. You're hearing it here first. Like, it's kind of a theory, but I think, and this is the first time that I'm laying this all out flat. So O'Hara, I'm sorry. I know I promised to save a little bit of this for the Wano report, but this is too juicy for me. I think that the Ape Ape no Mi is a 2-part fruit. I think it's used to transfer. We've seen it be able to transfer your personality into another body, and then also the other portion of it is to give eternal life. So what happens if the point of the Ape Ape no Mi for the Gorosei and Mary Joie and Tobito is to transfer one of their minds into the body of Joy Boy, give it eternal life, so that way they have access to something special that only Joy Boy was able to do.
Man, this is the beauty of One Piece, because like anything is possible. Like it's like it fits, because there's so much mystery that like you could really try to fit anything to make it realistic. Like I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that's interesting.
I think,
and the 3 things that you listed off for the Void Century, like 700 or 979 chapters later, it's still close to nothing.
I think about it. We started learning.
Like, what did they do? What did the world government do during that time?
And this is another one of my crazy theories. And again, I'm definitely going to go into more depth on this later. But I think Vegapunk is actually from the Century.
Really?
I think about this. What is more mysterious than the Void Century? What do we literally know less about than the Void Century? Only one character who's been mentioned since way before the time skip, way before we even heard about Wano. Vegapunk. Wow. His name has been said in whispers and undertones since basically the beginning. We didn't know anything about the 4 emperors. We know the only thing that we know about Vegapunk is that he's a scientist and that Frankie has some of his alloy in his body.
Man, I just like... Okay, completely random question. If you could have all of One Piece dropped next week, would you want it to happen? Or do you enjoy the theories along the way?
I think the theories are half the fun. Not half, a quarter of the fun.
Like,
I would
like the adventure is part of the fun, yeah. But like I would... It's hard. It is hard for me to read this one chapter at a time because there's just so much I want to know, and
I'd settle for an arc at a time. I would settle for an arc at a time.
Okay.
That way it's like, okay, there's still more to come, but I get this, like, imagine if Wano dropped all at one point in time. I don't think the internet would function properly for like a month.
Yeah. Like everyone would just be throwing out theories and videos for a month and just like freaking out over it. But Once a week, it's hard for me. It really is.
Especially right now with everything going on, they like keep pushing back breaks and all that stuff. And I obviously want everyone to be safe, but I'm also like, we need to find a cure right now so Oda can continue to draw One Piece. That's only reason for a cure is One Piece.
Only reason One Piece.
Dude, I feel like every conversation with like manga and anime tubers comes back to somehow One Piece. And I said this in a video that's actually coming out on Thursday. I think that Oda will probably go down as one of the best fiction writers of this generation.
I agree.
Not just manga, but fiction overall. Think about the world that he's created, the fandom that he's started. It's bridged generational gaps. It's spanned countries. Like Game of Thrones was popular, right? But that was only in Western world, like the Western society, I think. You go over to the East, not as big. But everywhere you go, you mentioned One Piece, odds are somebody has heard of it.
Yeah, well, how many sales? Like One Piece has the most like comic sales of all time, I think.
I think right now it's sitting at number 3 behind Batman and Superman. Okay. Only because Batman and Superman are they've been going on for forever and they are pretty dope.
Yeah.
So I will say when everyone got super excited, they're like, Kimetsu no Yaiba outsold One Piece during this time. I was like, One Piece didn't put out a volume, so how is this? It was number 2 and it didn't really put out a volume, and you guys got a killer anime adaptation. Good luck keeping this up.
Yeah, I'll even say even if volume did come out, like awesome that it did it did really well. But One Piece is just going to continue. It's just going to the consistency that they've kept over 20 years of this quality content being pushed out at a rapid rate is insane. If you look at other amazing anime or manga, Berserk, Hunter x Hunter, it's just like the quality does tend to change. I think they're both amazing in their own rights, but you can't keep up. Like Oda he's a different species. I think
he's one of those. I think he's a rare creator. Like you get one creator like this, maybe 2 every generation, where they're just able to constantly kick out the story and the content by themselves because that's their world. That's literally the world that I think Oda lives in is just One Piece. I think
One Piece.
He's been making this series since he was 6 or 7. Like if you talk to him, he's been writing this long before he started putting it on paper. I think that's what sets his world apart from others. Other creators come of age and like, okay, this would be a cool story to tell, or this one. Oda's been writing this exact story forever. Somebody asked me, oh, hey, where do you think he's going to go once he gets done with One Piece? I was like, first of all, I hope I want flashbacks and all that, but I hope he takes a break and tries to write a different world. I would love to see a different world created by Oda.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like anything that he creates, I will fanboy over just to see where it goes because he's just so talented.
He's so crazy. And like I said, I did a full rant video about Oda kind of, but he's just so good. But I do have a question that's not One Piece related.
Okay.
What were your feelings on Demon Slayer?
I thought it was an above average shonen. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but not amazing, not a masterpiece by any means. I think I liked it better than My Hero Academia. I made a video about that.
Ballsy. That's a ballsy claim.
Honestly, yeah, it was literally just for the clickbait.
100%. Sometimes you just got to make a video that you're like, oh, this is what clickbait is about, and I'm good.
I agreed with everything I said. It wasn't misrepresentation. I didn't lie for it. I'm like, I have this hot take. I think it's better than My Hero Academia. Both of them are just average, above average shonen. But
was that just this season of My Hero, or was it every season of My Hero versus
every season of My Hero?
Woo, versus one spicy takes.
But if anything, the length of My Hero just continues to hurt it.
I don't know. There's some inherent weaknesses with My Hero, and I can agree it's average. It's a little above average.
Polished but average.
Yeah, it's a very good looking average. It's a 5.1 on this scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a solid 5.1. You're like, oh, you line him up next to somebody. Oh, he's relatively attractive, but then you put him with a full group of people. You're like, okay, there's a lot better. But I think the only thing that actually really brought Demon Slayer up to where everyone was saying it was amazing was that 19th episode. And even then, I didn't think that episode was spectacular.
So one thing I really appreciated about Demon Slayer, on top of it looking amazing, were the fight scenes, like choreography. Like if you look at My Hero Academia, every fight scene tends to have a similar formula. Deku gets his ass kicked, and then it ends with one amazing punch.
Yeah.
Like he has some punches before that, but it ends in that one big, like knuckles to your face, just explosion, 1,000%, whatever. Like it's the same thing pretty much almost every time. While with Kimetsu no Yaiba, there was a little bit more nuance to it. For example, during the arrow fight, he had to one, I think it was beautifully choreographed, but also just the movement involved of trying to have to figure out the arrows and overcome it. And I don't even know. It's hard for me to explain in podcast form, but when you go through each fight is so different, and they're all good in their own ways. And it looks amazing.
I can agree to that to an extent. I think that there were, I think some of the fights in Demon Slayer did kind of line up with each other. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the fights built on top of each other. The experience that he got from one fight led him to making a decision in another. I think it's really well done. But like that scene in I think that was episode 19, where he's fighting the spider dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think that scene was overblown. To me, that scene wasn't anything special.
Well, it was special in regards to how it looked, for sure.
It looked, but the feeling there, to me, the feeling behind it just wasn't there. I think the arrow fight, to me, had more feeling.
I agree. But I feel like I appreciate the entire series of Demon Slayer, while a lot of people, I feel like they liked it, then that's what 19 hit, and it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. I think I appreciate a show that's pretty fastly paced, and I feel like Demon Slayer was just like one fight after another when it comes to shonen, and I just loved each fight individually, and then 19 was just like a cherry on top. Like that was just beautiful.
You're like, oh, this is pretty good. That's pretty good right here. That's pretty okay.
But like that wasn't the fight that made the series for me. I think the entire series had great fights.
I think I can agree to that. I think, like I said, I don't think I'm gonna watch the next movie of Demon, like hands down. I'm gonna watch it when the Demon Train, whatever train they call it, run the train. I have no idea. But I'll watch that movie because I think it was a good series for sure. Just like I'm 100% gonna watch next season of My Hero.
Yeah,
it's not even a
question. Same. I'm gonna watch the next season of My Hero Academia. Watch the movie. When I like say this, it's in regards to new stuff coming out. Because at the end of the day, as much as I love to talk about Demon Slayer, like it doesn't make my top 50. Like,
see,
I praise it compared to what's coming out recently, what's new and what's good, what's the next best thing. But like in the grand scheme of things, I just think it's above average.
So where does Dorohedoro fall on this? You got to watch Dorohedoro.
Which one is that?
That's the one with the dude with the lizard head.
Lizard head. Oh, I haven't watched that. I watched like one episode, I think, and then I was gonna read the manga. I've heard great things.
So the artwork's a little rough. I always try to give people warnings when the artwork's a little rough, but the story is on point, and the story is
okay.
Like it's that nice little, you're like, oh my, this is weird. I didn't expect that to go there.
That's on my list of things to read soon. I watched one episode and I just heard that the adaptation is not doing an overly amazing job. So I'm like, I'm just gonna read it. My schedule has been fucked lately. So I'm just like, I'd prefer to read than watch right now. Yeah, for most things as well.
Honestly, for me, reading is the big reason why I read is because I can get through things a lot quicker.
Yeah, like that's a great thing to do for One Piece. We're talking about like One Piece and stuff. Just read One Piece. It's so much better.
There's only one scene that I think is in One Piece, the anime, that is better than manga. That's when Luffy punches, almost said Luffy, that would have been. Luffy punches the Tenryubito Tobito in the face because of Hachi. That, I think, is one of the most amazingly beautiful, powerful scenes that I've seen in anime. Like, it tops everyone's list of the best punches.
So, what I do when I read the manga, I reread stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Especially for I do the One Piece Virgin podcast. So I'm rereading it along with Animax, who is reading it for the first time. Yeah, it's great. It's his first thing, and I just get to experience it from his eyes. And I reread through it, so I just kind of like this to jog my memory. And whenever I get to a good moment, what I do is I just go to YouTube and like look up the moment, because it's like it's a better read. The art style is better. The pacing is better for One Piece when you read the manga.
Oh yeah.
But it's like there's certain things where it's like the cherry blossoms falling in Drum Island, for example, and Here Looks Speech. As great as the manga is, it just doesn't like when you have the music and the colors coming down from the sky. It's like you have to
you
have to watch the anime for that, or like even with the Going Merry and them lighting up, like it just you have to watch the anime for the extra music and nuance that it adds. Like
if you guys can't see in the 1080p, I'm tearing up a little bit.
There are scenes that are just worth watching a little bit more in the anime.
Yeah,
as a whole, I prefer the manga.
Oh, the manga is hands down better, but the sound design adds something to certain scenes. Exactly. I think that's the same. I think the same thing can be said for a lot of anime and manga. That sound design can kind of crank it just enough where you're like, okay, all right, there's the emotions right here, boys. I'm crying. Yep. I'm gonna lose it.
Like I feel like anything that's like a really big moment, I'll go rewatch the anime just to compare.
If you were to recommend 3 anime that somebody were to watch, like they've never seen anime before, there's 3 that you're like, okay, these are what you have to watch to pull you in. What would they be?
3 anime to watch. Okay, so when recommending anime, I do think it depends on the person, but I'm gonna give you a 3 general for anyone. We got Death Note, which I think you might disagree with, but it's got those first 2 episodes that hits really strong. A lot of the times with a lot of anime that I love, it takes time to pick up, right?
Yeah.
And when you're getting someone new into anime, you want them to feel it off the first 1 to 2 episodes. Another thing is you kind of want to not make it a Western anime per se, but you don't want to have too much, like you don't want to throw an ecchi in someone's face. No. Like I love Food Wars. I love No Game No Life. I think they're great and ecchi amplifies them, honestly. But if you're new to anime, I wouldn't recommend them because you're just going to be like, that's weird and it's going to ruin the experience for you. You have to slowly ease people into that, you know? So I would avoid stuff with that. I would probably recommend Fullmetal Alchemist, even the original per se, over Brotherhood. So I love Brotherhood.
You're recommending the original before Brotherhood?
Only to someone who's never watched an anime before.
Oh, that's ballsy. Ooh.
So, I love Brotherhood. I think it's better than the original, but there are 2 downfalls to Brotherhood when it comes to bringing new people in. The start is rushed, and it almost assumes that you watched the original. And the original almost feels more Western to me. Because they...
The twist.
Yes.
I know exactly.
The twist in the original
makes it feel very, very Western. I can agree to that. But
so I made my dad watch Fullmetal Alchemist, and he watched the original. I made him watch the original, and he watched the entire series. Just because as someone who's also older, for example, I'm like, I need to make sure I get something more Western, and I need it to like be good off the bat, and I don't want it to be rushed and assume that you like kind of already watched the original. I feel like Brotherhood's appreciated more by people who are a little bit more into anime. Okay. So we got Death Note, Fullmetal Alchemist, and for a third, now, this is a bad recommendation, but a lot of my friends, the people I associate with, are bros, they're chads, they work out, they play sports. So a lot of the times I actually introduce people to like Hajime no Ippo and Kenichi.
Hey, that's because Hajime no Ippo is probably one of the best sports anime out
of all time. Okay,
I mean that's not even a question.
Yes, right. So it's like Death Note and Fullmetal Alchemist are usually my go-tos, but when it's a buddy of mine that I know is gonna like Hajime no Ippo or I know is gonna like Kenichi, I just gotta throw them into something like that.
I'm gonna have to watch Kenichi now. Now that you're putting it at that same level as Hajime, I'm gonna have to watch Kenichi.
So, from a reviewer standpoint, I think Hajime no Ippo is more polished and a little bit better throughout. But those first 50 episodes of the anime, I absolutely love it, and I cannot recommend it enough.
Okay, see, you've made me a believer. I've never watched the anime, which means that I'm gonna go into this with fresh eyes, and I will go episode by episode, and I'll be like, okay, all right, this is where we're at.
Give it 2 to 3 episodes, and I feel like you'll be hooked.
Okay,
first episode's a little bit cringy. Episode's a little bit cringy.
I've read if it's anything like the manga, I know what the first episode's like.
Yeah.
I've reread, so I will be honest, I have reread the first 3-ish arcs of Kenichi. So again, I know everything that I'm getting into. I know, and I really enjoyed those first 3 arcs. It was just that very end of the manga where it started to just get way too fan servicey, and they just kept leaning a little bit too much on certain tropes. And I was like,
It was kind of like Bleach. He was forced to finish, and he was struggling to keep his sales up.
It was the one that actually people always kind of like the guys in like my circle look at me for. I don't like Gantz at all.
I've never watched it or read it.
It's like it's okay. It's real violent. Just I couldn't get behind it. Just something about it. Every single time that I try to read it, I just get to a certain point and I just hard stop. I was like, nope, it's okay to hear. And then it just hits the brakes. I'm like, oh god.
That just hit me. I think my third anime, just for like a general audience, would be Vinland Saga.
Ooh, Vinland Saga is coming from somebody who's read the anime, read the manga,
read the anime.
Yeah, I read anime quite a bit. Somebody who's watched the anime a little bit and read the manga, the way that they changed the story pacing around a little bit in Vinland Saga, I think, very necessary for that medium.
Yeah, and the reason why I think it would fit well for like those three anime I'd recommend to newcomers is because one, it's not very Eastern influenced. Mm-hmm. Two, it is very the animation's amazing, and three, it's got great action scenes. It's not too shonen-esque. Is it considered a seinen? I'm not sure.
This is why
I think it's probably a shonen. It's like an in between. I feel like it's not too shonen. It's not too like Naruto, like Bleach vibes type of thing. It's very different, and it's like I feel like it would hit an audience that's a little bit more mature.
I can agree with you. It's also okay. This is weird. Wikipedia says that it is both a shonen and a seinen, but it was originally published in a weekly shonen magazine, but then it was published in monthly afternoon after that. So,
it really does change throughout as well. Like, how did you like the farm arc? If you read it,
it was weird.
I loved it.
It was weird. It's like with Vagabond when Vagabond did its whole thing.
The tone, everything completely flipped on its head.
It was like, oh, nope.
It's my favorite arc in all of Vinland Saga. But it's only my favorite arc because of everything that happened prior. You know,
because it gives context to why he's doing it.
Yeah,
I think that's an important thing. It's when the author gives context. Like I always joke about I have 3 manga recommendations for everybody, but I never do. Like it always depends on who you are and what you've read, and I can give recommendations based on that.
100%.
Like for me, I am 100% down with. I will never recommend an ongoing series to somebody. I know that sounds. I know that sounds weird, but if you've never read anything before, I want you to get to the ending of a series and then pick up with something else really good. So I always look at my shelves first. For the more mature audience, I think Parasite is a really good one.
I like Parasite a lot.
And I feel as if it's very, or as, Japanese as it is, there's not too much, like if they were to change the setting, it wouldn't change the story. Like some other things. So I think I would recommend the Parasite manga or the anime. The anime, like Parasite the Maxim, that was a good adaptation. Oh no!
I do prefer the source material, but I don't know. The audio pissed me. Was trippy.
It was weird, but like I said, I think
it kind of matches what they were going with the parasites and like how crazy everything was. Yeah. It just sometimes the audio was a little bit much.
I can agree to that, but I think it was considering how old the manga was, I think they did a decent job adapting it.
Yeah. Other than that, I have no complaints. Honestly, I'm just nitpicking. Hey, and I think it's so like how I said Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia like aren't even in my top like 50, or I think I said that like Parasite is.
See, so. boom. Like that's how you know it's a good one when it's in your top 50. I'm gonna start basing all my anime recommendations. Like, I need you to give me your top 50 so I can sound informed about my life.
And Parasite something I think like a long time ago I made a video of recommending anime. Like Fate Zero was on the list. I did Fullmetal Alchemist. I did a bunch of maybe looking back, Fate Zero is not the greatest pick, but regardless, Parasite was on that list.
Okay, but you also have to figure out where to try to start with Fate series.
Honestly, Unlimited Blade Works and Zero are like just the only two really worth your time. I like Fate Stay Night, the original, but it's Unlimited Blade Works does a better job. There's a bunch of other attachments, but like they're just completely different story-wise. So you could do that if you enjoy the other ones, the ones that I consider great.
You know what I was really looking forward to? Kingdom.
So Kingdom and Vagabond are two manga on my list that I have never read, and I would need to read them.
Dude, I'm rereading Kingdom. Like before we got on this like call to record, I was starting my reread of Kingdom, and I'm already back on chapter like 120. I also skip around the boring parts. I'm like, I don't need to see the first like 10 chapters.
I know what happens.
I was like, I know exactly where we get to this point. This is where I think the action picks up. Kingdom, the anime, it's so like they took such a weird and cheap animation style. Like they did full CG for most of the first of it, and then
up until recently, I didn't even know that there was an anime.
Yeah, it was not good. Like the first season, apparently season 3 is okay, but like the first season was not good. Oh, I actually know. I know what my third recommendation would be: a fighting anime at least. Baki.
Baki is good, man. It is a little bit like so manga wise, right?
I would do both. So
I like the anime a lot, but it's just like it's been done over so many years, and it's just like it's just so. What do you start with?
See, I think if I was gonna make the hard part is you cannot find the manga really legally.
Mm-hmm.
So and sometimes you can't even find it completely illegally either, which is real hard to do. Trust me, I've tried. But if I was going to make a recommendation, I did end up finding the OG anime for sale at like a bookstore near me.
Really?
Oh, but they were asking like $100. I could not justify it.
Like, yeah, the way I am, I have a Crunchyroll membership. I read my One Piece on Viz, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, if I can't find something, I find it.
Yeah,
one way or another.
I will never tell anyone how to find anything. Because I think that if you're a pirate of the high seas, you need to be a pirate yourself.
It's all about like
I figured out how to do it when I was 12.
I can't show you what the One Piece is. Yeah. That just ruins the journey.
If I was 12 when I figured out how to be a pirate. You can't figure out how to be a pirate and you're 18 plus. Okay, you're just stick with reading the legal things. In fact, one of my buddies, Zach from Uchi Shelf, he's made a website where he points out where you can find a bunch of different manga for free legally. I think that's a great thing to do.
That's a great service, honestly.
It's wherecanifindmanga.com. I was like, dude, that's a dope. I actually made a fake video. Awesome. I'm looking at the time. We are getting near the very end, which is super sucky because I'm learning so much about you, Briggs. It's a great conversation.
This is awesome, man.
I really enjoyed this. So if you've never watched one of these episodes, I always try to find one final question to ask that really lets us get to know the depth of you. And that is usually involved with me looking around at my desk at random objects and inspiration. And today, that question is, what flavor of gum do you prefer?
Flavor of gum. That's an interesting question. Honestly, I guess I'm just a basic guy. Like, what's it called? XL? Fuck, I like them. I don't even know, bro. I just buy packs of those. I don't chew gum that often.
Dude, I have like 12 different flavors that I cycle through. Like, I exclusively chew. So I used to be like really fat, and so when I was losing weight, I just started chewing gum. Like, it's become a very bad habit of mine. I go through a pack of gum a day sometimes. Like, it's not good. But I
actually chew a decent amount of gum. I just don't actually like. I just buy Costco big packs of those XLs, and
oh, dude, Costco.
The silver pack is the best. I don't even know what flavor it is. They all kind of taste the same.
Hey, you know what? All right, so your gum flavor is silver. Mine is the Trident Citrus because I love me fruits, but I will throw in like bubble gum flavor bubble gum every now and then.
Trident Citrus. I gotta expand. Like I got all the anime knowledge. I gotta expand my bubblegum knowledge and just try. I gotta experiment. I gotta be a pioneer.
You show me the way of anime a little bit more, and I will show you the way of bubblegum. Trident, and you always do 2 pieces because one of those small pieces is never enough. It's always 2 pieces at the same time.
Always 2 pieces. Yes, 100%.
When you're changing out, this is probably TMI for most people. Chew one in half, spit out half, and you put the new piece in, so you're conserving your gum at the same time. Most bang for your buck. This is big brain time, and I can expand my hat to be that big brain. So tell everyone where they can find you and what projects you have coming up. This video will be published on Monday the 18th, so keep that in mind.
Awesome. So I run the channel All Day Anime. I post anime content there. Right now I have a series on One Piece and Food Wars, and just like I do a lot of things where I talk about like the best moments in certain series. Not specific to series, just like a bunch of series that I like a lot. Also, let me just think here. I also make fun of anime sometimes too, because I like to talk about seasonal shit and I like to piss off fan bases. I'm a little bit toxic. What can I say? I Twitch stream over on twitch.tv/BeastlyBriggs. I have 2 podcasts. I'm sure you can find them. Oh, thank you.
Basically, 95% of what he said will be linked in the comments down below. We'll do the Twitch, we'll do the Twitter, we'll do the YouTube, we'll do at least 3 out of the 12 podcasts that you have. And you guys know where to find me because you're watching this or listening to it on any of these streaming platforms. Wow, that sounds super professional right now. But don't forget to like, subscribe. Go check out Briggs if you have never heard of him at All Day Anime. If you haven't, I don't know why. He has literally almost 1,000 times the subscriber base that I do. Go check him out. And for everyone new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy Lohili, and I will see you next video.